Hello everybody, my name is Corbin Wildcat, and I wanted to show you guys my maples and some of my other plants I've collected in my short time as a person who enjoys plants. Long time lover of art and living things, and yeah, just wanted to let y'all take a step and look at the beauty that I get to live every single day that I walk outside of this undescript location that we're at. So yeah, as you can see, some of these tall plants that I have. This is my Gable's Glory. I just picked this up a couple of days ago. Just potted it up. It's getting a little crispy because I left it in the 1 gallon pot, and it was one of the XLs we got from the nursery. It's a pretty amazing plant. I have it in maybe a little bit more sun than I'd like to. But next spring, whenever that comes around, I'll probably put it in a little bit more shade than it is right now. But yeah, I love this plant. It goes through a lot of awesome color changes in the year, moving from like shrimp pink colors to more of like bright yellows, which I love. I guess we can start from right to left, But so we'll start. I'll pick this one up for you. So this is probably one of the newest additions, the newest addition to the garden. This is actually an awesome lily pad that my homie Brian got me, man, from Mr. Maple. A lot of you guys might know who he is if you're watching from that channel. But yeah, this is like a variegated macawa form. Some people might say that this looks like a little bit like the Mary Jane, but I don't know. I don't see it, but I work with maples, so you don't want to smoke this. Now this next one I have right here is Orangeola. It's a weeping variety, and it has some super awesome leaves. Similar leaf shape to like the run-of-the-day maple, or the run-of-the-mill maple that you might see in, just around everywhere. But this one has some awesome color changes that it goes through. It shows some really intense like purples and greens, and it's a really nice play between the two gradients. This one is really cool because it's a high graft, and it's actually grafted to something that has some like cork bark mutation. So super duper cool. This is a cool nursery find. I really like this. I'm gonna let some like rootstock probably come up from this bottom tree and maybe take some grafts of it, because this probably is maybe like, I don't know, it's probably a pretty old tree, maybe like 4 or 5 years old, like the graft itself. And this is probably like a 2 or 3 year graft union. But it has a lot of pine barking, which is really cool. One of my favorite trees in the collection. Then I have a tree that taught me a lot about maples. It's really cool. This is actually a Kiyohime. So this is a dwarf variety maple that's got some like awesome spring interest. During the springtime, yeah, you can see that little pink leaf. It'll get colors like that as it first emerges, and then kind of move towards like a green color in the center of the leaf. It looks beautiful. Just this amazing like little fire in the garden. And this tree actually used to be a lot bigger, but I got it whenever I first started growing maples, and I didn't pot it up quite as quick as I should have, and it died back. But you can see at that bottom of that trunk where it kind of died back to, but I was able to save it and it recovered, and this year it's like really just put on a lot of new growth, and the shape is developing nicely. That's a tree that I like might turn into a bonsai one day. It already kind of has that sort of shape, so yeah. I got my lovely assistant recording. Most of the time I'm recording the videos, so it's always fun to be in the I guess, the passenger seat sometimes. But then, speaking of my wonderful assistant, this is actually a plant that I got her. This is a Hydrangea serrata, Coco Noe Yama. So this is a variegated hydrangea. This one I saw at the nursery. We had a set of these, and it just kind of like spoke to me. You know, Brian and I were kind of standing right next to each other, and I saw this plant with some beautiful lavender blooms, just kind of speckled across the beautiful, super white variegated hydrangea leaves. And you know, it just kind of reminded me of my girlfriend, so I got it for her, and it's very beautiful. So far, I would say put this in like a shadier location. I didn't pot it up whenever I was supposed to. I left it in 1 gallon, and it kind of died back a little bit, but it has put on so much new growth like throughout the summer. It's super dope, very beautiful. A lace cap hydrangea as well. It doesn't have the pinnaculated blooms, so it looks a lot different than a lot of other hydrangea blooms, and they stay for a very long time. This is a newer project. This is kind of a funny little thing. I've been wanting some black like Mondo grass for ever since the first time I saw it, maybe like 3 years ago, and finally I pulled the trigger. Got a couple little sprouts. I'm gonna probably start splitting them up. This is how I'm gonna build my gardening empire, guys. Growing little tiny grass and selling it for big money. Now, by the time I had enough of those, I'm sure they'll be selling for like $4 a pop. That stuff's awesome. Yeah, what next? So all these trees are getting like picked up for the first time in like 2 years too. So this is my amber ghost. This one has some really beautiful reticulation. My friend Brian Rule gave this to me as one of my very first trees. Probably, you know, within maybe like 6 months of me working at Mr. Maple, and he was like, man, I got an extra one of these, like, you need to have this, you know. So it was probably my third maple. I think it was my third maple that he gave me. And, you know, it's put on a lot of like kind of girth around the trunk. It got hit pretty hard, I guess, 2 winters ago by some cold damage. But it's a little trooper. I love the shape of it. I love the color that it brings to the garden. I love how, like, it is green and red and blushing. It's a very beautiful tree. It's pretty dope. Then I guess I'll move on to, this is a tree from Texas. So anybody that's Washington, Texas, this tree grows there, and it's pretty awesome. I will pull up. This tree hasn't moved in a long time. It's probably got roots sticking out the bottom. It does. Don't look at that. So yeah, this tree is a super dragon truncatum that my friend Bjorn gave to me. It's awesome. This tree has like such cool summer growth and spring growth. It kind of emerges like an orangey red color, kind of akin to some of these colors I'm getting in my purple curl right now. But then it goes to like this beautiful like lime green color. Super awesome, heat tolerant. This thing is definitely one of my favorites. I'm probably gonna up pot it. Probably needs to be up potted. But yeah, shout out Bjorn. You're awesome, bro. Thank you for this tree. And yeah, man, this kind of just moving on. Another one is, I think, a tree with a lot of potential that I got, and it was kind of a diamond in the rough. You know, a tree that got kind of set out in a pile, and Matt was like, all right, man, here you go. Here's some maples to get you started on your collection. And he gave me this awesome Golden Falls, which didn't have the best shape, but I'm like staking this up, and it's growing in such a fun form, and I'm like, I can't wait to see what, you know, happens with this tree, because this is one of those, like, I call them Play-Doh trees on the YouTube. Like weeping trees, you really can just play with them any way that you want, and they're just gonna be like, all right, well, now I grow here. So you can stake these up any kind of way you want. And just some of these branches give me the idea of just going all out and then kind of making this elaborate structure with this guy. Super beautiful tree, especially during the springtime. I'll give you some of those darker oranges you see on there are kind of similar to the spring color, but this is one that can also, whenever it gets a lot of sun, it bleaches, and it gives you some amazing yellows to white colors. Super amazing tree, beautiful. This will go great where you have some vertical space in your area and just kind of letting it weep over something. Super cool tree. All right, what else? So I guess we'll talk about my purple curl. This is one of my favorite trees. Some of you guys might notice it's a little burnt. I just kind of want to see what it would do. And maybe my lovely assistant will hand me the camera and I can show you from this angle too, because there's some very burnt leaves right here. So this thing is kind of gnarly right now, and it's known for doing some very crazy stuff, but this is one of my favorite trees. It gets a curl to it, and like, this is definitely sunburnt, I'll admit that. I'll probably move it a little further into the shade next season, or maybe it'll get used to it right here and come back next year with some awesome looking leaves. But yeah, that's definitely one of my favorites. And then I'm gonna hand the camera back to Rowan. So yeah, this is some cool trees coming up. I gotta go rapid fire. The battery on the camera is dying. So, all right guys, somebody forgot to charge the camera. So it died, but we're back out here. It's the next day. Got my pixie shirt on, and yeah, so we were talking about gold dust. Now this is a super cool Picea ABs. It has some very beautiful like variegated color on it, and I just love how this one like contrasts with itself. And I've seen some pictures of some older specimens of this tree, and it's like very dense and full. It's gonna be cool. I like kind of the yellow dwarfs during the springtime. They play nicely in the garden with other trees. And sitting right next to this is like a cool plant that it just has a very awesome story to me, because it was it was probably the second tree that I ever Yamadori'd or went out and kind of took out of the ground, put it in a pot, and brought it to my house. This is my mountain laurel. So I'm gonna get this white shirt all dirty, I'm sure. But yeah, this is an awesome mountain laurel that I dug up from my house in Cherokee and brought it with me. It's got a little, probably a nasty caterpillar on there.
Can't see it. Oh.
Eating it up. So, and I'm stepping on a slug with my bare feet right now too, so that's a little nasty. But this is the first time that this one like kind of bloomed this year. Gave us about 4 little blooms, and I was just super ecstatic because, you know, the transplant of taking it from one place, putting it in a pot, and then kind of, I moved, I think once or twice this year. Yeah, it's really kind of bounced back, put a lot of new growth on, and I'm excited. I'll probably keep it in this pot for one more year, and then kind of pot it up. Yeah, I got some cool strawberries right here. They're a little eat up by some caterpillars or something right now, but these are cool because my grandma got them through a program in Cherokee where they were giving out a bunch for just for community members and that sort of thing. And I believe they tried to give out like cultivars that were kind of old. Like they had some cool watermelons, and they had, you know, the purple Cherokee tomatoes and that sort of thing. And yeah, so this was a cool program. At the time, I didn't really have a garden, so I ended up giving them to some cool coworkers and friends, like Brian and Daryl and Sean, my friends from work, and they ended up growing them. And then Daryl gave us this plastic pot with some beautiful, beautiful strawberries. And Brian has actually grown out a whole entire little raised bed for his strawberries, and they're super dope. Can't wait to ask him to give me some more of those because he's got plenty, and strawberries are one of my favorite things. And those ones, they produce, I probably got about 3 strawberries off of that, and they are some of the sweetest strawberries that I've ever had in my whole entire life. So very, very delicious. And this moves us to kind of a pear right here. So I got a little duo action going on right here. And these are trees that are amazing in their own rights, in my opinion, but together, I think like they just play off of each other so well. This yellow variety is called Anne Irene. It's Acer palmatum, and so is this other one to the left of it, which is Black Lace. Anne Irene is actually a sport mutation, so it has genetic mutation that went on one singular branch, and it started getting this weird leaf shape, and it's actually a variegated tree during the springtime. It has a nice orange border. But yeah, this is like one of those trees that kind of evokes like the sun. Like I know that there are some trees that are named Sunny or Mr. Sun, but whenever I look at the leaf of this and I just see the color and I see that springtime color, it just reminds me of like a blazing like summer sun, and I just love that. And then right next to it, we have this amazing Black Lace, which is, it's a little crispy right now. This was an XL, both of them are XL, so they got potted up maybe a little bit too late in the year. So they have a little bit of burn on them, but these are 2 trees that I just love. I love the Matsumura style leaf shape on the Black Lace, and the color that this one can get if you put it in a little bit more sun, it starts to get established. Super dark, so I love the play between the yellows and the blacks. So that's just super dope. These are 2 trees I can't wait. I mean, I'm enjoying them now. You get so much interest out of just having the pair together, but once they get big, oh man, I just imagine these being in front of, you know, maybe I have my little goth garden on one side, and then I have my little shady white garden, and in the middle, these 2 are kind of that yin and yang that are playing off for each other. Super amazing trees. All right, so I guess we're moving through to some of our native species that we just picked up. So this tree I just got maybe 3 weeks ago. So my main plan whenever I get to Cherokee and you know, we get settled down there and start to build our garden, I have this red mulberry, which is going to be like a 45-foot tree. It's going to have these long dangly berries, and it's just going to be a centerpiece. So my main idea for the garden in Cherokee will be having like a mix of food. So we have some blueberries there, we have grapes growing, there's tons of blackberries already, and I want to add some mulberries, I want to add some persimmons and pawpaw trees, and just kind of create like a little food forest. But then also I have space for my awesome Japanese maples to kind of highlight in there. I sit and think about it sometimes. It's pretty exciting, a little overwhelming and pretty far into the future, but this tree will be one of the mainstays of the Wildcat Farms or Wildcat Garden. So check back with me in 30 years whenever that thing's huge. Then we move on to, I guess, the last two plants that we have, or I guess we have some more maples over there. So this is actually like a creeping phlox that I just picked up. I really like this thing. I mean, it has nice purple blooms on this variety. I have no experience with creeping phlox, I'll be honest. Just the lady told me it works good in some really nice heat. It can handle being on rock walls. So my idea for this is maybe I'll buy a couple more of these and plant them around this culvert that we have in Cherokee that's just like big rocks. It's got a big metal pipe going through it. I used to sit there and catch little trout whenever I was a little kid, but I just love the idea of having this creeping phlox kind of planted over the top of it, and then it kind of mounding and blooming over top of just kind of this water area, creating a beautiful play between like those amazing kind of purple flowers with maybe some of the reds of the larger rocks in the area. And it's super exciting. Obviously it doesn't have any blooms on it right now, and it's just a little 1 gallon, but I'm excited to pot this up. And maybe, I don't know how this works, so maybe you can split it, maybe not. If not, I'll find some more. Super cool. Then we have another kind of sun-loving plant that we were told, and it's this variety called, it's a Coreopsis pubescens. So it's Sunshine Superman. Again, I don't know too much about this. One of the things I'd like to start working on is learning more native plants. But this one is a nativar, just like that phlox as well, I'm sure. But it has beautiful little yellow flowers. If this one will ever stop shaking, you can kind of see that. But yeah, I mean, having yellow in the garden is super important. If you have ever heard my boss Tim talk about it, he loves yellow because he thinks it brings out all the colors in the rest of the garden, allows you to see more shades of green. And yeah, this is going to be an awesome ground cover. That's just hopefully going to kind of take over some areas. And you know, some of my trees look a little rough, and I'll be honest, I'll show you guys these because I messed up a little bit, and maybe it's a cautionary tale for what you can do and avoid. But so this is my Amagi Shiguri. I picked up an XL from the nursery, and same thing. I go through little spurts of buying trees, and where we just have some really nice stuff at the nursery and I want to pick it up. But Amagi Shiguri was probably the second tree I ever bought, and the first thing I did with it was take it and plant it in Cherokee, where I didn't even get to watch it grow. So I ended up buying this other Amagi Shiguri that was probably, it might be 3 or 4 times bigger than the other one in Cherokee. But this thing's kind of cool. The other one's doing fine. It's kind of just chilling. It's kind of getting established. It's in a little bit more shady area, so it gets a little bit different color. But this Amagi kind of got a little burnt up because Rowan and I, when we went to Pittsburgh, and this and the Lillian's Jewel beside it kind of sat in 1 gallon pots over the weekend. It got pretty hot. They died back, or kind of crisped up, dropped leaf, but now they're kind of flushing back out with a little bit of new growth, and I mean, I'm sure they'll be fine throughout the winter time. But if you ever see this one online, make sure to pick it up. It's very amazing with the reticulation that it has and like these colors that it has as well. This one just kind of has, it will go from like this maroonish color to this pink, but then it also, if you have it in some really heavy shade, it'll actually go like kind of lavender colors. Very amazing. And I'll just pick this guy up and whoop, I'll show you. So yeah, this tree, I felt bad because I just picked this thing up for Rowan, and it kind of died back a lot on me. But I think this thing will be fine too through the wintertime. Sometimes a little bit of dieback builds a lot of character, and at least that's what I tell myself, because you know, like I said, sometimes dieback is all right. You know, it makes the tree stronger in other areas and focuses in on that. Obviously we don't want it to happen that much, but you got to work with what you got, and can't cry over spilt milk and how awesome that Lillian's Jewel used to look. But yeah, that was kind of my little garden tour. Shout out to Rowan for recording 2 days in a row, so that's pretty awesome. And yeah, I just wanted to show you guys my cool little garden and what I'm kind of trying to build, and maybe trying to show some people who are renting how they can kind of hopefully do this while being somewhat manageable. If you have a truck, it's a lot easier than if you have a little tiny car like mine whenever you're moving. But just having the ability to grow the maples in like a small area is just something that I love. I'm very blessed to have some high shade, but I mean, I know we're also in a kind of a Goldilocks zone here in North Carolina. But yeah, I mean, I just wanted to show you guys my little hobby and what I enjoy to kind of come out here and look at. I will say I'm kind of that type of bee person where I'm kind of like, if a tree survives, it survives. I'm not going to try to, you know, feed it with a silver spoon, honestly. And I think you can kind of tell that by my garden. But as I get better and better at things, I think placement's really important, and finding those little tiny microclimates where each tree can be successful is important, which takes a little bit of time, which I'm still kind of developing my skills. But yeah, I just wanted to show you all this and you know, show you my little garden, and maybe at some point we'll go back to Cherokee and talk about a couple of trees that I have over there. But yeah, if you enjoy this, drop a like. I know this is the first time I'm really posting this sort of content on my own channel. But yeah, I also do stuff at the Mr. Maple show, so you can always go check that out if you're craving a little bit more Corbin talking about plants. And there's also a lot of really cool other stuff on there. My bosses are maple legends, so I'm just trying to share this hobby with y'all. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your day, enjoy the rest of your night, and sleep tight. So peace out.